My brother and my girlfriend falsely tried to accuse me so that I would lose my inheritance, but they didn't account for a crucial detail. My brother always had a history of selfishness. When we were kids, he would take my toys, cry when I received something, even if he got something too, and he would even secretly take my money, among other things. My dad and mom would scold him, but my mom had a kind heart and would ultimately forgive him and let him go unpunished. There was only one thing in the world that my mom would not forgive, stating that anyone who did it would be removed from the inheritance, any form of betrayal. According to my mom, my grandfather's betrayal to my grandmother had ruined her life for a long time, and it was simply unforgivable in her eyes. Fast forward to the present, I had been dating my girlfriend for about 2 years. Surprisingly, my girlfriend and my brother always got along very well, which was strange to me since my brother and I barely spoke to each other. They would hang out together, go shopping, travel, and do all sorts of activities together. Recently, my girlfriend started acting strangely after a trip with my brother. She had distanced herself from me for a while, and to be honest, it was clear that she was about to break up with me. However, I had already accepted that and thought it would be the end of it. But I was wrong. One day, I woke up to her alarm, and when I tried to wake her up to turn it off, she just said she was taking the day off and asked me to silence the alarm. I got up, picked up her phone, and was about to turn off the alarm. However, I saw a message from my brother in the notifications where he said he couldn't wait to put the plan into action. I admit I acted wrongly, but I was curious and thought they were planning some surprise for me or an interesting trip, so I decided to check. However, when I opened the conversation, I was shocked. There were hours and hours of detailed conversations outlining a plan to falsely accuse me of infidelity, causing me to lose my inheritance. My brother would take control of the inheritance and they would buy and live with each other later on. They talked about me in the messages as if I were insignificant, as if I deserved it, as if I had done something wrong. I took screenshots of everything, sent them to my phone, deleted the messages, put the phone back where it was, and laid down. But I couldn't sleep. In the messages, they planned to reveal my alleged infidelity at my mother's birthday dinner the next day. I knew exactly what the two of them would say. I knew they had hired someone to create fake images of me with other women in public. I knew they had hired someone to call my mother and pretend to be my lover, among other things. I decided to let them proceed with the plan and document everything that happened. I knew my dad would believe me because he knew I would never do something like that. I planned to record everything that occurred. My brother and my girlfriend falsely tried to accuse me so that I would lose my inheritance, but they didn't account for a crucial detail. Part 2. Following the advice of some of you, I informed my father in advance about their plan, sending the screenshots that showed they would accuse me that day and all the spectacle they had planned. At first, my father was shocked. He knew my brother's personality, but he couldn't believe he would be capable of ruining my life over something as trivial as money. Although my initial plan was just to tell my dad because I thought my mom wouldn't believe it at first, my father convinced me, and we both told her everything. As I had expected, my mother didn't believe that my brother would actually do such a thing, so she decided to pretend she didn't know anything and wait until the dinner to see what would happen. When we got there, my girlfriend was clearly nervous, but my brother was acting as usual. The entire dinner went well, and I even thought they had given up on the plan. My mother kept glancing at me constantly, as if she were disappointed that I had lied until, just before we left, everything started. My girlfriend began to say that she had something to confess, and everything they said they would do in the messages unfolded. They showed forged screenshots, manipulated photos to make it look like I was with other girls, and so on. My mother watched in disbelief and with tears in her eyes. At one point, while they were still talking, my mother suddenly got up and started shouting. She said she already knew everything they were doing, knew it was all a sham, and understood their motive. From that moment, my brother was banned from entering her house and would lose her inheritance. My brother and my girlfriend started shouting back, accusing me of being blind and defending themselves. That's when I stood up and said I had screenshots of everything and had shown them to my mother in advance. It was at that moment that their attitude changed. My girlfriend began to cry and tried to hug me, saying it was all a mistake, that she loved me and didn't know what she was thinking, that she had been manipulated by my brother, among other things. My brother accused her too. My mother ended up calling the police to remove them, and I went home. I had all my girlfriend's things sent by one of her friends. However, when her parents found out about everything that had happened, they refused to take her back home. She has nowhere to go and constantly sends me messages, asking me to take her back, saying it was all a mistake and that she won't repeat it. I still love her and don't know what to do. I don't feel comfortable leaving her on the streets. I know what she did was serious, but I'm honestly lost.